Welcome to this programme, which will take you onto Scottish beef, sheep and dairy farms, where the farmers are working with their vets to improve the health and welfare of the livestock. We'll also be looking at nutrition, a major factor in animal health and therefore profitable meat and milk production. These days, now that production payments have gone, the financial viability of a livestock enterprise depends on maximising output and reducing costs. It'll seem obvious that healthy, thriving animals, farmed in a welfare-considerate environment, perform better, produce more, and have lower production costs than stock challenged by health and welfare issues. It's impossible for livestock to meet optimum production if they're suffering with health problems. Health problems eat into and have the potential to destroy profit. Before you can prevent, control, or eradicate health problems in your stock, you need to firstly understand the health issues concerned, and the best person to help you appreciate the animal health situation on your farm is your vet. The reopening of export markets for Scotch beef in May 2006 presented Scottish producers with the opportunity to supply lucrative overseas markets that had been denied to them for a decade. It's worth remembering, however, that by far the biggest market for Scotch beef is England, the destination of around 70% of all beef produced in Scotland. The quality of the beef, the renown of Scottish stocksmanship, along with the image of Scotland's clean and healthy natural environment, has helped fuel both overseas and south of the border demand, ensuring a substantial premium for Scottish producers. Nevertheless, we need to be aware of the growing importance to these lucrative markets of animal health and welfare issues. A Quality Meat Scotland survey of over 150 Scottish beef enterprises showed that many were not making a positive net margin when support payments were excluded from the financial figures. So how can Scottish beef farmers determine the targets to aim for if they are to join those who are making money without support payments?
Well, a farmer in a way will always have a certain degree of health policy on his farm. But each year we continually get to hear about more diseases coming on the farm and the farmers needing more advice and help, just a friendly hand to help him along. And he's getting that through the vet. That's his number one source as a vet. The vet can not only be an advisor to him, but a friend to him in what he's doing. In the past, most farmers have got the vets along, and it's just been to a calving, or it's been to do routine treatments, and that's the only time they've had for discussions. So nowadays, it's important that through the health plans, land management contracts, to actually get the ability to bring the vet onto the farm and sit down with them and actually look ahead on what we need to look out for and what we need to do and actually improve in this farm for the future, because it's all to do with profitability at the end of the day. And I think the most simplistic measure is to actually look at how many calves am I actually rearing from the number of cows that went to the bull. If I put 100 cows to the bull, how many calves of that am I actually rearing? And when you look at the industry standards through the QMS yearbook, you're actually seeing that the average is just about 88% of calves reared from 100% of cows that went to the bull. Now, the top third are producing about 92%. So you say there's a 4% difference between the two of them. 4% is about 4 calves based on 100 cows. And at the end of the day, if you're weaning to 350 kilos, that's a good 1,400 kilos of output kilos that you can't put to the marketplace.
So once they've established the target they're aiming for, how can they identify areas where they're not perhaps hitting that target, reasons why they're not getting there?
There could be, first point of putting the cows to the bull, do we have a fertility issue there? Or is it a nutrition aspect there that we've not been able to get the number of cows in calf that we would want to achieve to? Some might be low, some might be high. But there's other processes. You might scan them and find we've got 92 or 94% in calf. But actually when we go to calve them, we've lost another 4 or 5 calves. So why are we losing calves before we calve? If we've got disease problems and nutrition problems, then you'll actually have calving time. We'll lose more calves, some will lose very few calves, but some will lose a lot of calves. Have we got the genetics wrong? Have we got the management wrong? Is the nutrition wrong? Is the health wrong? Or the fourth point is, are we losing calves actually from birth up to being weaned, reared or sold? Are we having nutrition problems again, or are we actually having health problems? So it's actually identifying what of these 4 major areas is it that we're breaking down and actually having our losses? Because each farm will vary, and it's important that that's why you sit down with the vet to actually try and identify where it is.
But what about the chap who's buying suckle calves or store cattle and taking them through to finish? What sort of monitoring process can he put in place to make sure that he's getting optimum performance?
Well, here obviously what's most important for a finisher to bring in is to maximise weight gain. If he's actually finding he's bringing in store cattle that look well, but they're not finishing well with them, then he can relate back to the producer, may have problems within his herd, if we've talked about health policies that have gone wrong, and he's not maximising the output. So when a producer takes cattle to the finisher, he must have a way of making sure that he gets a feedback also from the feeder of how his cattle are performing. The feeder must make sure he maximises efficiency and output, and it's through weight gain, and weight gain can be held back with disease issues as before. But that's his parameters. He must be expecting a certain amount of weight gain. Finishers are very much in control of their weight gains. Regular weighings at regular periods will help them achieve at the end of the day. They're needing quality and they're needing weight at the end of really for their marketplace.
And would you recommend that the finisher works with the vet as well?
Absolutely, and it's not only for the finisher to work with the vet, but to work with the producer that he's taking the cattle from, to be aware of any health problems that may have existed or to look out for, to also talk to his vet, because he may have actually brought in a number of cattle from different sources, and some of them may have been naive to other diseases that others may be carrying, and before we know it, they've actually been transferred over. So working with the vet will give him a blanket policy, and so he's more confident of being able to get a good night's sleep.
And it's recommended that feeders who bring in cattle from a variety of sources establish close links with the vets to identify potential health risks and consider isolation and vaccination to ensure the bought-in stock perform to their maximum potential.